start. So the idea is I finished British Society of Lifestyle Medicine and part of, I would say, team to prevent chronic diseases rather to treat. By my basic education, I'm a pharmacist, and then 10 years I work in aesthetic medicine as prescriber, become medical prescriber, independent prescriber. I've done my PhD in skin, so actually I'm specializing in skin aging. However, I understand there's not point to treat the skin if people have so much struggle in general in their life, struggles in daily life, need to change whole life. It's very hard to fix something once reached. So that's why I based on my moral, decided that actually we need to go deeper and start to find the root causes and root problems to improve people's lives. So that's why here you are. I designed 2 training courses. One is metabolic health, they're starting today, and the second is stress management. Because if you can cope and combine these 2 things together, we can prevent from stress. So now I'm going to share my screen. I don't know how many people will come. Is this one? Am I sharing my screen? No?
Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so
It's a green.
no idea how to. It's green.
Yes.
Okay. So that's mean so 1 second. It's a lot today, 40 slides. So 1 second, let me see, where am I? I want to share this one. I'm sharing now, yeah? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I just want to make it like I want to make it full. And I don't know, here. Oh, perfect. Okay, perfect. So today will be first lesson out of 6. And we want to talk about what the program and what we're going to discover during these 6 weeks. And I want to record as well. I'm so sorry. I want to record this in different settings. Wait, sorry, videos. So the first week today, we're going to talk about energy, about mitochondria, circadian rhythms, sugar, carbs, energy, and metabolic rate, what it is, and the basics of energy, where energy comes from, and where it's come from, the main ingredients. Next, we're going to talk about proteins and physical activity, how we build up muscle and how we use this energy slightly different way, and importance about proteins, how much proteins we need, and how we can grow other muscles. So third week, we're going to talk about healthy fats and oils and ultra-processed food. So on the third week, we're going to share very definition of different oils, processed, unprocessed, cold press, omega-3 on omega-6 ratio, and ultra-processed food, what's going on there, and the danger of what's going on in these terms, and how much fat we need depends on the morning, evening, and the day. The week number 4, very important, is about gut microbiomes. So it's super popular and very important. So without healthy gut, we wouldn't have a healthy brain. Without healthy gut, we wouldn't have healthy at all. Nothing is possible. So is that important? Week 5, we're talking about brain metabolism, is how our brain use glucose in daily basis, and type 3 diabetes. So it's a new term, it's professional and scientific term, but type 3 diabetes is when brain cells not using the sugar correct way and causing a lot of brain fogs and a lot of mental diseases like depression, anxiety, and others. And the 6th, last week, the final week is about relationships and how relationships and social environment affecting our life and longevity. They go without good relationships and sleep. So I'll put them together. There's no way we can talk about longevity and a healthy life, because the way how we live depends on our society, depends on our family. It's coming. 2-3 generations together. So that's why even then we have epigenetic changes. We're talking about 2-3 generations because they're linked together and they learn. So this is how it's important. So if you're seeking for the change, you need to bring everyone, your children, your parents, your friends. More support you have, the better result you will get. So these 6 weeks, we'll be talking about metabolic health, and then you start another 6 weeks, we're going to talk about stress. And the stress comes everywhere. Whatever, every single minute, we're facing stress, and every single of our cells are facing stress every single moment. So what is metabolic health? Metabolic health refers to having ideal levels of blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, and waste without need of medication, and to reduce risk of chronic disease like heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. There is only 5 main components. First is a high blood pressure. You can measure your blood pressure in every single pharmacy, or you can buy blood pressure cuffs and measure at home, and smartwatches. A lot of them already offer some different Oura rings, different things, devices that can measure your blood pressure. Your high blood sugar and fasting glucose, they're more interested in the morning, and protein link within 3 months' time. So that might be done with different devices as well, or laboratory test. And we worried about your low, high density lipoproteins or good cholesterol, HDL. And if it's less than 40 milligram per DL, that's mean for the man, and 50 for the woman, we need to worry about. So we're not really worried too much about LDL. A lot of bad stories in social media and the papers about low density, like bad cholesterol. But we find out that LDL actually quite good. There is bad factors, but it's also good factors in there. So we can't really divide what exactly, how good your LDL or how bad it is. But if you have low HDL together with high triglycerides, then you're in trouble. Then literally your high LDL become dangerous. But if it's only high HDL and high LDL, don't worry, and low triglycerides, nothing to worry about. It's probably giving you more benefits than bad things. And of course, the most obvious and everyone can see is large weight circumstances, obesity, central obesity. So here we're not really looking on your BMI anymore, because when we're young and get older, your healthy BMI actually increases with age. So if you be in age of 18, your BMI 18 or 17, you'll be healthy. But if you'll be age of 40 or 50 and you have BMI 18, you'll be in trouble. Yeah. So if you're young and you have high BMI, you might be already metabolically risk. But if you're age of 50 or 60, your BMI is 26 or 27, you'll be absolutely healthy. So here we need to look in your weight circumstances. What about your visceral fat? All the rest, your cellulite, your love handles, or that all around the body is not that important unless your waist is slim. So what is metabolic syndrome? Metabolic syndrome refers if you have 3 points out of 5. So if you have visceral obesity, so it's easy, just look in the mirror. Insulin resistance, so it's already your blood glucose higher than it should be. You have high blood pressure, you high in triglycerides and low in HDL, then you probably have metabolic syndrome. And that is alarming. Ideally, we want to be around none of them or controlled plus minus, yeah? Eventually, sadly, older we get from age of 40 or even earlier as 30, visceral fat start accumulates for the men and women. Men more likely to have visceral fat and earlier than women, but women more likely start having it at age of 40, 50 and menopause, and so you need to be careful. Now I want to discuss metabolic flexibility, and here is what it is, this flexibility. It's ability your body efficiently switch between burning carbs and fats for energy. And here is crucial. So we need to train our body to use and carbs, burn sugars, and also burn fat. Depends what we're accessible, what the blood our organism have right now. Then carbs available, your body should quickly use carbs for energy. It's for your thinking, for daily movement. But then your blood sugar going down during fasting, exercise, or sleep, your body should switch easily to burn fat, yeah, and produce ketones and use them to give you energy. Metabolically flexible person easily switch between burning carbs and burning fat. That supports energy levels during the night and during the day, during the fasting, during the stressful period of the time, and you stress, you require more glucose because of high cortisol level. And make sure your glucose level in the bloodstream stays in the healthy range. Also, that helps with fat loss and body composition. And of course, metabolically flexible person reducing risk to develop metabolic disorder like insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, and they are the most common. Main factors affecting metabolic flexibility, and of course, is our diet. Yeah, so we eat too much sugars, too high refined carbs or sugar, and the number one that reduces flexibility because we have too much sugar coming regularly in our bloodstream. If you're going to calculate how much sugar we eat, mainly high refined carbs, and now very important, our balanced intake, fats, proteins, and carbs together, and what types of carbs. Intermittent fasting or low carbs diet can train your body to burn fat more efficiently, but again, there is an issue we're going to discuss later today about the danger as well and importance to monitor how your organism responds to spikes of different carbs on different food. Physical activity, of course, is one of the most important. We have to move around, and even after the food. Anaerobic and resistant exercise improve mitochondrial function and fat oxidation. So we should forget that we exercise, we burn energy, and they absorb the sugar much, much faster. So we need to, with different words, we have to do this SOS and weekly emergency checkups daily. Yes, we need to make sure everything is working, every channel, every engine is on daily basis, or at least regularly. Sedentary lifestyle limit the body's ability to shift, yeah, between a few. So if we don't sleep properly, if we have chaotic lifestyle, it's not helping to switch between things. Insulin sensitivity. They're more, of course, very important because more insulin resistant you are, the harder is to switch between carbs and fat. Good insulin sensitivity, you have more flexibility. Sleep quality, poor sleep as well, disturb hormonal balance. We're talking here mainly about the cortisol, hurting metabolic control. Stress level, again, is the cortisol level. Cortisol everywhere, so very important hormone. It's playing crucial role, but it's not only hormone playing role in metabolism. Body composition, high muscle mass, you have better metabolic flexibility. More visceral fat, worse, yeah, and high insulin resistance. And of course, age, older we get, less flexible we get in. And it started as early age of 30 on average. So sometimes age of 27, sometimes 30, 35, depending on your physical activity, your life, the stress, so many different factors in your lifestyle. So now we want to discuss about sugars and carbs. So carbs is the main source for ATP and energy production. Whatever we do, whatever we eat, we need to produce ATP, yeah, the energy molecule, this energy currency. And this mainly come from sugar. If we don't have a direct sugar, our organism making this sugar, burning fat, proteins, and finding the way what else they can eat, including burning and destroying our own muscles. Yeah, that's why fasting is dangerous, or any diet is dangerous, because organisms start to find any single solution, not only one, yeah, including eating your own organism or destroying your own muscles to get this sugar, to break this down. So it's quite smart. And the sugar usually come in 3 different ways. In monosaccharides, it's simple sugars like glucose, fructose, galactose, and dietary glucose. And fructose mainly found in fruits and honey. And fructose is actually quite dangerous, even more dangerous in terms of it's very quickly get absorbed and go into the fat deposit. Disaccharides, so it's 2 monosaccharides together, glucose and fructose or galactose and glucose. Polysaccharides is a more complex sugars, and that will be starches, glycogen, and fibers. We're going to talk more about starches and fibers in doing gut microbiomes because they're important and specific classification how we can make the starches retrograde and more positive, playing the role, reducing the glycemic index, if you like. So today we're just talking about general classification. So as we discussed, our organism trying to make the sugar with everything is possible. So we need glucose. And or we eat it with the food. That's great. We have a straight spike sky high up, and the organism getting insulin, getting absorbed and delivered where it needs it the most. Or they switch in different processes. This is metabolism. Metabolism we're talking about. We really need to train and we need to start this engine daily. Ideally, we want them daily. If you're not going to use the engine, they stop working and that's it. Everything stops working, so we can't lose weight. They have a high blood pressure, have more inflammation, and all that stuff. So gluconeogenesis is making the glucose from proteins. So the liver converts amino acids into glucose and keeps brain and red blood cells energized. Lipolysis. So then they burn the fat, make into glycerol, and then from glycerol transform into glucose. So fat release glycerol and convert it into a small amount of glucose. This is what people want in losing weight. Ketogenesis. Then they burn in fat and produce ketones. And the ketones, 2 parts of our body who adores ketones. That is such a yummy. It's for the brain and for the heart. So there is absolutely no glucose in the bloodstream. Our brain and the heart still can survive. Make sure they're still alive. Maybe somebody give us a little bit more sugar comparison difference as the brain cells and the heart. So we will be living even if we have a loan in sugar. And that thank you for ketosis. So that's why we need to practice ketogenesis as well. So they need to make sure they do produce these ketones, an occasional shift to see if after intermittent fasting, we do break down fats and they do have these ketones in the bloodstream. So it's a good practice to check, yes, everything is working, everything is great. And of course, glucogenesis is then store carbs from the liver and the muscles get released, and to stabilize our blood sugar. And this is the most common source of energy. So here, so what's the carbs? Of course, this is the main source of sugar. They play a very big impact and you need to use them. The 90 to 100% of them goes to glucose, depend on the source. So it's mono or complicated to like combined carbs, and they spike in the bloodstream very quickly, within 15 minutes up to 2 hours. Then second come proteins. Proteins as well, they have moderate impact, and around 50% of proteins turns to glucose, and they peak after 2 to 4 hours. And fat. They have low impact in glucose, and only around 10% of them turns to glucose, and they release very slowly over 8 to 10 hours. But it's very important for before fasting or during the fasting or during ketone production. So glucose used by everywhere. We need in digestive system, we need for muscle, let's go to the liver, the glucose get transformed and stored in glycogen form. Then insulin is a hormone get produced when it just detect the sugar in the bloodstream, get released and helping fat cells to grow. Yeah, thank you for without insulin, our fat cells not going to grow. So we need insulin to make this storage. So needed for winter time and in general, secondary sources as backup. Why sugar intake matters for metabolic health? As we discussed, if you eat too much carbs, we have a quite severe and very fast spikes, and the rapid glucose spikes causing too much stress and very big insulin response. Insulin resistance, if you have like frequent spikes, so you're constantly eating too much sugar, really a lot, insulin gets released too many times, and the cells all around the body stop responding. So literally, you need to increase, eat more and more sugar, your organism to respond. Actually, you're just ignoring it because it's too much and getting numb, if you like. Fat storage, excess sugar, especially fructose. So these fruits, when you say you need to eat fruits, people eating too many fruits. We don't realize when one cup of orange juice is a plenty of sugar, actually double from daily recommended intake of sugar, and you spike incredibly high. So actually, it's not that healthy. One fruit, yes. One orange, yes. One apple, yes. But then the kilos of fruits every day is actually damaging. And it goes directly to the fat store in visceral fat, mainly. Yeah, it adores fructose, loves go directly to visceral fat. Cholesterol imbalance, because the high sugar intake lower high intensity HDL, the good cholesterol, and raising the bad one. And increase inflammation. Increased inflammation here is a lot of different methods how inflammation happens. But for example, in terms of fat cells and visceral fat, fat cells need blood vessels and they need nutrition. And the bigger fat cells grows, because you have a lot of fat in there and they can bigger, the fat cells have limit how big they can grow. It's just making discomfort for them because they're in danger, because they're so big. Yeah, and they don't have enough nutrition to keep a function. And they start to release the signals for the help. They start to release this inflammation cytokines into the bloodstream as a signal. I need help. I'm struggling. I'm too big, but blood vessels getting too far because they always single cells growing. And as a result, more fat cell, bigger in the size, more inflammation you will have. Yeah, and is not helping to none of them, because after that organism gets absolutely confused which cell, where does inflammation come from, and how organism can help. So it's not the same as you have inflammation, like you cut yourself, yeah, everybody running for the help, it's healed, it's gone. The fat is still there, and if you're not reducing this fat, nothing going to happen apart, it just increased biomarkers of inflammation. And the sugar is everywhere. In modern diet is everywhere. It's hidden. We even don't understand how much sugar we consume in the juices, in the fruits, and extra in ultra processed foods. Insulin. So why insulin is so important and what actually insulin does? Is a hormone that produced by pancreas, by beta cells in pancreas, and regulates blood sugar levels. So when it's too much of sugar, sending the signals, and insulin gets released in the bloodstream, and if you like, there is like a key opening the channel, and sugar can go to the cell. Because without insulin, your sugar will circulate in the bloodstream, very, very high levels, dangerous levels. But insulin help every single cell to have insulin receptors, including the brain. Yeah, and these receptors sensitive to insulin. That when the time is too much insulin, they get not that responding with age as well. So these receptors get attached to the insulin and is open the channel, and the glucose go directly into the cell to produce energy. Yeah, because we need it so much. So glucose get absorbed, and then depends on the cells, in the muscle gets stored, in the glycogen produced in the liver, and continue to circulate. If it's too much, for example, liver already took already how much they need, And if it's too much, it goes into the fat deposit. Yeah, it's and insulin help the fat cells to grow, so transforming everywhere. And rapid rise in blood insulin after carbs or sugary meals is not that good.
Now be quiet.
Is not that good because it's help creating this crash. It's too much insulin, and sugar goes absorbed very, very quickly and creating crashes, and it's not good either. So here, just very again, so here you can see is a receptor of insulin. This is our little cell, and this is insulin get released after the glucose get detected by insulin receptor, by the cell in the bloodstreams. So pancreas start beta cells making a flash of insulin is open and glucose go directly into the cell. So, and insulin affects so many different tissues and organs. First of all, of course, is the brain that regulates our appetite control. And then glucose uptake into the muscles, so your fat cells, insulin secretions, and pancreas and liver. So what it does, it's a good thing, insulin, isn't it? Insulin is great. It's help absorb glucose from the bloodstream. It's promote energy storage. It supports protein synthesis, encourage amino acids uptake and building muscles. It's regulate fat metabolism, inhibits fat breakdown, preventing excess free fatty acids in the bloodstream, maintain blood vessels health, and supports growth and cells repair and balance electrolytes. So retain sodium and keeping this balance. What happens if it's too much? So we have too much sugar, we have too high spikes, and insulin working and spiking, getting constantly working and constantly gets secreted. Like any substance, we get resistant to it. So we need more insulin to work and bring us a lot of trouble. So start to notice that we can't lose weight. We have a more craving for sugar. We have a constant hunger, so we can't. We need more because the cells still asking because they didn't get sugar in the cells, and they want more because insulin, the receptor is not responding anymore. Yes, and they're asking, I'm still hungry, and you eat more. So that's why it's very important to find out if you have insulin resistance early as possible, because with insulin resistance, you won't be able to lose your weight. Yeah. And it's masks. So it's not that easy to identify, do you have this insulin resistance or not? You have fatigue after meals, so you'll be sleepy if you eat. You might have aching and pains in the muscles and the body. You will have visceral fat, high cholesterol, and more important, you'll have high triglycerides level. Yeah. You will have hormonal disbalance, so estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Again, constant hunger and fatigue. So you're waking up with no energy, and you'll feel like you still, whatever you realize, doing nothing. It's nothing helping. So how we can solve it? Of course, low carbs diet will help. And here I want to explain what's different between low carb and low sugar diet. I recommend start with low sugar diet. And if it's not helping or stop helping, go to the low carb diet. So what is the difference? When they talk about low sugar diet, they cut in added sugars. So we still keep carbs. Yeah, we're still eating starches. We're still eating fibers, but we are using sugar intake up to 15 grams a day. Yeah. Generally recommended in the World Health Organization recommend no more than 20-25 grams of sugar, refined sugars per day. Yeah, so this is teaspoons that they put in the tea, we meet in the cakes, etc. But here, a low sugar diet, we still eating carbs like fruits, vegetables, but we make sure fructose and refined sugars in general is no more than 15 grams a day. And what we do, we want to reduce the spikes. Yeah, so we want to, within the time, our organism notice that is less sugar coming. We're reducing this other glucose spikes in the bloodstream, and organism start to slowly change. Yeah, it's not like a one-off. You should wait for a few weeks before you see a result. And we have a low carb diet. So low carb diet is more to test. We cutting off vegetables, we cut off fruits. We in general getting into training our ketosis, yeah, because there's no carbs, no sugar, no starches, no fiber intake, limited. We're still using it, but quite low amount. And as a result, we're switching more into ketosis. Very important, more drastic. So if somebody wants to try, I recommend start cut off with low sugar intake, low sugar diet first, and then if necessary, adjust already general carbs, low carb diet. So as a food, what food we can start with? We can start if you cut the sugar and want slowly, maybe a few days have a low carbs in general. And here's a spinach, mushrooms, cauliflower, zucchini, probably broccoli, kale, asparagus, cabbage. As you can see, all these vegetables highly recommended. So and actually they're quite low carb vegetables. And low carbs food is the salmon, beef, chicken, actually strawberry, etc. Lemon, raspberries with different antioxidants to start our metabolism. Literally, we want to start it off or test it. It's working. Sugar flu. So what do you experience when you cut off sugar? So it's not that easy. Yeah. So we call it sugar flu. So this means we know what's going to happen to you, and it's quite hard. It's very hard. The people usually die, so life changes when you want to change your lifestyle. It's hard because it's uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable approximately the whole month. So the first for a few days, you have headache, irritability, cravings, fatigue. You might even have a muscle pain. You will feel like you just unwell. They catch a flu, so that's why I call it a sugar flu. So you have a flu-like symptoms. Because of the drastic blood sugar drops and energy crash, you feel discomfort. It's very important to hydrate, drink a lot of water, and eat more fibers and proteins to keep it increased. Mood swings, dizziness, and brain fog. So after 5 days, within the first week, you will be hard to concentrate because your organism is not switched yet to production for energy. So it's needed time for organisms to switch. Again, that is a standard thing. If you're more metabolic and healthy, that even might take it much longer for you. So you might stuck in this flu for much longer periods of the time. A lot of people can't cope because we still have a life to do, the job to do, studies, and they're coming back to sugar intake because they can't cope with that. And here is very important, as with any flu suffering person, provide support. So it's a friendship, is your family members, the people, your friends at work, your colleagues. Everyone should support you to go through it, and this might take much longer than I'm saying. This standard thing isn't here. Who just want to try. If you're healthy, then yes, but if you have an issue, it might take even longer than that. After a week, usually your mind getting clearer, and you start reducing cravings, your organism start producing ketones. So you switch, and you finally, after a week, your brain start to use the ketones more and just start to break down the fat, and they start the process. Yeah, so we start this flexibility for different words, and this a switch of different engines. When you didn't switch on for so long time, it's quite a painful process, but you need to be patient. After 2 weeks, you start notice that you have more energy, and you start improving your sleep, you have less craving, and more important, after approximately 2 weeks, your taste changing. So everything you could eat so much sugar before, after approximately 2 weeks, you think you can't eat it anymore. It's too sugary. So it's not tasty anymore. You start feeling the changes in terms of your taste, yeah. And what was absolutely sugary normal before started a little bit too much. So you reduce naturally. And after approximately 3 weeks to 4 weeks, you adapt to new metabolism. Ideally is the best scenario. Yeah, but its average is not suitable for everyone. And after 3 weeks only, we'll say you improved it. And parameters and biomarkers after 3 weeks, if everything goes well, will be improved. So here, people in London, I know not everybody here from London, but you can buy finger samples for blood tests, so you can see what's going on. as I said, is quite general. You can buy from London Medical Laboratory, it's £89, or different pharmacies. They have few laboratories. You can even ask and talk to your GP or family doctor to find out what is your sugar level, what is your triglyceride level, and how much is HDL. So 3 parameters, not that expensive, but of course, in general laboratory, we can see as well what is level of your microinflammation, your inflammation biomarkers. So if there is inflammation, so it's much more complex. But once you're making reasonable changes in your lifestyle, even after as early as 3 weeks, few months time, you can repeat blood tests. You probably notice improvement and changes there. So it is important to monitor. So what else? And how else, if you don't want to go to do the general blood test, we have different options in the market. Is continuous glucose monitor, and I can highly recommend for everyone to do that. And I'm starting to do it myself to check. We can buy, there's different options in the UK, and probably the best in the market still will be Abbott as Libra 3 is the latest. You can easily buy Libra 2, it's cheaper, it's less functions, a little bit less precise, but you just want to see your spikes, you just want to see where you're standing and how you respond to changes in the diet or how you respond to every single carb. And we all will be different. So there's so many genetic factors, epigenetic factors, so many different things involved, how you respond to every single food. So you can use Abbott Libra series 2 and 3 by the NHS National Health Services, given only to complicated case study cases like type 1 diabetes, for example. But you can buy it yourself. As Dexcom 1 as well is cheaper. I think is Libra 2 and 3 making measurements every minute. Dexcom every 5 minutes. And Libra as well is for 2 weeks and Dexcom only for 10 days. Then I have a Lingo. So far is more in the United States. You can buy in the UK as well, but is for iPhones only. Is for iPhones only, and you can use a standard classic EcoCheck is in a classic glucometers. We can buy for 20, 60 pounds, and you can check the glucose. The problem is you might don't notice how you're responding in the night, and it's very important how you switch the energy, what's going on in your night time. And of course, food journaling, what you eat, how you feel, you're sleepy, not sleepy, and general well-being checks. Why it is important to see and why I recommend you have a continuous glucometers, because you meet them in feedback and you see your spikes, how you respond to specific food. You can easier personalized nutrition, for example, Lingo app. You will see them and advise you already what's the best to use. It's encourage your movement, so you will see if you start to move, how your glucose dropping down, how you sleep after that, where you're waking up. It's improve stress awareness. So you see, for example, if you've been in a stressful event, you can say straight away how you respond to it and build consistency and it's quite accountable. However, I don't recommend use it all the time. So please don't get mad and crazy and don't have it to like daily and checking this at all time. It's very important probably have us check for a few weeks, see what's going on, make reasonable adjustment and forget about it. So leave, because you can't make your biomarkers and you're everything worried, your brain stop. Be reasonable with all the results. So I want to share with you my result, because I'm being hypoglycemic since I was a child, and by that time, for 30 and 40 years ago, that glucose meter wasn't that aware about, and I'm suffering from nocturnal hypoglycemia, so as blood sugar drops in the nighttime. So as you can see, that's from beginning when I start measurements just to see and making this lecture, understand how it works. You can see that very classic after dinner, 9 o'clock, I have a drip of glucose, and midnight, 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. I would say the most classic nocturnal hypoglycemia. Why is it important to see? Because I needed urgent intervention and lifestyle changes in terms of my food intake. I enjoyed slim body, I'm 51 kilos, and a lot of ladies on social media encourage women to stay younger than getting older. But unfortunately, when I was 45 kilos, age of 18 is absolutely fine. And when 50 kilos, age of 40, my organism struggles and I need more. So I need to increase my BMI, I need to increase my fat, I need to increase my muscle, and I need to start eat more. So, and I should take reasonable changes. So what's happening in everybody have different reasons why it's happening. I know I usually quite often is a high insulin at night. I know it's not my case because my insulin in the morning was absolutely low, super low. So it's not insulin in terms of my case. Skipping or delaying dinner or snack. That was me. I usually eat like 5, 6 o'clock, and I felt absolutely fine. Intermittent fasting, keto meters, ketone production is great. Yes, I was producing the ketones, but I was in critically low glucose, and it's not good. Another reason other people might have is alcohol consumption and inadequate carbs intake in evening. Yeah, so in improper insulin dosing time or types for people who are diabetic and who are using their glucose. So it's really important to find out if you think they're super active, you're slim, you're a hero, and your biomarkers in your blood never been catched. Because as you can see, I'm low quite long, short periods of time, and then organism trying to level it to the healthy levels and the glucose. And I never been really catched only once in the low glucose level, 3.6 in the fasting, but it's dangerous. Yeah. And what has happened, some ago effect, then organisms start smashing hormones, yeah, to lift your glucose up. But it's stress, it's extra unnecessary stress. This is my responses as well, how you can see, classic spikes that probably all of you have different spikes. So here I eat in the morning, I decide to try Nutella on toast. You can see it was 11.1, actually it's gone to up to 11.3. And very quickly, within half an hour, is less than 10, is dropped to 3.3. So, and this is a question of 1 hour. So it's really uncomfortable. It's a very stressful event for my organism. And we all should try to avoid, and this not happening. Yeah, so it's normal to have spikes, but we need to try avoid this happening a lot of several times a day. Usually it's fine, as you can see. In the night I was eating fine. Here in this specific night, I was managed to keep my glucose level without drips, so I was eating the night. So why we want avoid such clashes? Because is first of all is during the night is affecting our mood. Yeah, so we know we're getting hungry, and then when during this drop significant crashes up and down, you notice your cognitive cognition changes. It's my release more insulin, and over the time you can become insulin resistant, even healthy. So it means you don't need to be overweight to have insulin resistance and develop diabetes. You just need to eat in too much sugar to create these spikes on a regular basis, and you get it. And of course, it's badly affecting on the liver, yeah, because you get confused and get to overload, and a general stress response. In my specific case, I started notes last year, approximately. I was thinking, oh, I'm a woman getting older. So I was waking up with terrible hot flashes in the night, and my heartbeat was raising very, very, very hard. And then I noticed, oh God, I'm waking up with this. My low sugar was under 3, so it was approximately 2.8, and probably adrenaline already been released, like a huge wake up signal. You have to wake up, and I wake up. So and my sugar goes up straight away. But that you can imagine during day. And I'm going through probably a few times per night, 2, 3 times a night. And I'm thinking, why I can't sleep? So I just need to eat more and change my diet before I go to sleep. So it's approximately the same stress level when you during the day, you have a such stressful event, your mouth get dry, you're getting shaky, cold sweats, and your heart starts to beat like that. And I can imagine if you're working and you have such stress 3 times a day. Yeah. So it's really stressful. And you think, God, I can't cope. But I was not aware about such stressful event every single night. So, and we all need to minimize the stress, because If you're not going to reduce the stress in the night, what we're not aware of, it will be much, much harder to deal with the stress during the day. So again, we're coming back to energy. We're coming back to mitochondria and why we need this energy and how we produce this energy. So here we can see that we have a triphosphate group. That's why we call it ATPs, adenosine triphosphate. And here we can see it's 1P, second P, the third P is phosphate groups. Then we have ribose, and this is a sugar. So that's why whatever we want, the energy made up of glucose, so produce any energy, any ATP coin, we need this sugar. Organism, whatever we do, we'll try to do that. And nitrogenous base, yeah? So we can't escape it. So that's why we need to eat just good sugars and carbs to produce this. And ATP is the main energy currency. Yeah, it's produced by mitochondria. And to get optimal metabolic health, we need to make sure they produce this energy day and night. Yeah, when we sleep in, they still need to have a good resources. So all these slim people, super lean people, it's absolutely fine. It's great we are muscular. It's great we don't have a fat, but we need to make sure that during the nighttime we're not suffering and we don't have deficiencies and our organism not under severe stress during the nighttime. So here you are. This is our mitochondria. And we have only one, every single cell except only mature red blood cells. All of our cells have mitochondria. And this mitochondria uses sugar to produce this energy. Yeah, there's a bank of energy we're using during the day. And if you have a bad intake as energy as a fuel, mitochondria start malfunction. Yeah, if it gets too much bad sugars and not optimal, mitochondria get damaged and producing you just less energy. Yeah, so it's like a Bank of England just making you less money. Yeah, it's the currency. We all want to be rich. We all have a good resources. We all have a big bank account. The same organism, and they want to produce this energy. But if Bank of England economy in the organism start malfunction, we go to recession and then bankrupt, yeah, and then all the bad things happen. The same as politics, the same is the world inside of us. And are coming back because all sides, the winners in terms of mitochondria, contain 100 to 600,000. So approximately 500,000 mitochondria in one egg, female egg. Yeah, this is how organism preserve and working hard, producing, keeping this energy. That's why women in fertile times, they're using much more energy. And once you go into menopause, she start very quickly put on weight, yeah, because industry and manufacturing shut. Yeah, so many unemployed, so many gone. But the women used to continue the same lifestyle. So it's very important for women going through menopause or approaching menopause, make reasonable changes, yet to understand the need to change the lifestyle, yeah, because is big changes happening. So mitochondria, and here I'm going to talk about cells and how much mitochondria. You'll be surprised. So this tiny little organella, they have so much. And if you're going to weight in terms of percentage of our body mass, the children and lean and active, usually kids, we expect them to be lean and active. They approximately have a 30 to 40%. So that's why they eat a lot. They're not getting fat. They're running. They have so much energy. They're waking up in the morning, coming back sometimes thinking, how kids, they have so much energy. I don't. Adults with moderate activity have significant reduction, approximately 20 to 25. But adult being overweight or without movement, only 10 to 15%. So it's a double less. And it's a word. Older person, elderly, inactive, only 8 to 12%. And that's reduction started as early as approximately such reduction start from age of 70. But again, it really depends on your lifestyle, absolutely linked to your physical activity, what you eat, and what do you do. But older fit can keep the same as youngsters. And here you can see the image about white cells and brown cells, yeah, and how we can increase mitochondria contacting the fat cells. And as you can see, white fat tissue, they have much less mitochondria. The bigger fat cells, less mitochondria is there. And the brown fat tissue have much more. So white cells less than 100 or 100 up to 500 max, but the brown fat cells from 100 to 5,000. So of course we want this active and mitochondria-rich fat cells, and they want them to fat cells to be and muscles rich as mitochondria, as good mitochondria as possible. So, but how we can get it? Is there any tips? Yes, we can. And the most studied tip, and tip number one is exercise, physical activity. Here you are. But it's no still sports, because Endurance Zone 2, we're going to talk about next lesson more about exercise and about proteins and how we build up the muscles, what exercise we need. But it's average as a walking, physical activity, Endurance Zone 2, 3-5 times per week. And we can see the changes as early as 2 to 4 weeks. Cold exposure, this is another thing. Regular exposure, 10-15 minutes a day, is a cold showers, is the air, is just running, cold waters, I don't know, swimming in oceans, cold oceans is great and show mitochondrial adaptations, and more important, with moving the white fat cells to the brown, and is really noticeable in visceral fat. So one lady from this course tried it, and she said, oh, she never lost so much in visceral fat. Her belly just shrank. She was swimming every single day in a cold swimming pool, because it was April. She was swimming in the cold, freezing cold swimming pool, and she was really happy. She was surprised how quickly her visceral fat gone. Yeah, because number one, responding will be your body fat and visceral fat. And of course, hypoxia is low oxygen. So is mountains, yeah, is a skiing in the mountains in winter time is great for with extra physical activity, or just walk in the mountains. Even 2-3 hours reduction of low oxygen will start to boost. It's like a poison. Everything we can kill us. The cold can kill us. Too much exercise and low oxygen. But in low dosage, controlled dosage, actually is very, very good, and actually keeping us alive and do the great job. So hypoxia, low oxygen as well, helping to kill the old bad cells. Yeah, so just speeding up the process, recycling. Yeah, so actually the weak are dying and the strong are getting stronger. And this is exactly what we want. Yeah, we want the gone, leave a space, because, you know, if they're damaged already, they can't cope with stressful environment. They can't cope. Yeah, so we need to leave. And as a result, as well, we discuss about fuel type. Yeah, so we want to have ketones and lactate. And lactate, maybe heard about lactic acid. We're going to talk next week more about it. Lactate is amazing fuel for the brain, but sadly is very short-lived, because it gets produced during physical activity. You know, this muscle soreness, it means you have lactate definitely get produced, and the brain just adores it. And for the brain, lactate is brain adaptation and flexibility. So it's getting much more flexible. So it's adaptation in new environment. And if you have a lot of things to think, or a lot of things to resolve the issue, problems, do it during the gym, just exercise, really exercise, and then you will see how your brain trying to resolve, problem solving, improving, yeah, and you have more adaptive into cognitive function. And that's thanks to lactate as a booster, as a fuel for the brain. So here we're going to discuss a little bit more as about in terms of physical activity, yeah, how and how your heart rate's affecting, and I'm going to probably discuss it more next week, because we talk more about physical activity. But here's important to know that optimal is endurance zone is a 60 to 70%. So it's a fast walking, you know, it's exercising, but not too much. It's optimal. So you don't really need to sweat and die in gym to improve your mitochondria. So it's not that hard. Yeah, you just need to move around. You just need to walk. You need to sometimes run. You need to leave something heavy around, you know, and just be a little bit less lazy, and lift your bum and move around a little bit more than before. So which science actually helping the people to do all that? And we have a science now. We have a new area in terms of medicine. They call it lifestyle medicine. It's all getting introduced in all countries, different healthcare professionals, mainly is primary healthcare, as a pharmacist, nurses, doctors, dentists, dietitians, and we have a 6 pillars. Yeah, so I'm part of British Society of Lifestyle Medicine, and we cover 6 main topics in lifestyle when helping people to find the root problem. Where is this gray area need to be improved? And of course, it's healthy eating, it's physical activity, it's restorative sleep, as a positive social connections, your family, your friends, everybody you're surrounded, your daily experiences, it's a stress management, and risky substances like alcohol, smoking, and other things like medication. Medication, you need to remember, every single medication is a risky substance. Yeah, we think it's great, no, including paracetamol. Everything there is a risky substances. And if you're taking any prescription only medicine, that's counted as a risky substance for you. Ideally, you don't want to use anything. Occasionally, we want to take supplementation because for different reasons, we have lack of vitamin D, magnesium, calcium, depending on activity. But any prescription medicine, we want to get out of them. So now I want to move to circadian rhythm because it's that important. It's our 24 hours. Why it's important? Because we have a clock. We have a clock, and our organism know perfectly well. Depends of time of the year, and depends of the country where we live. It depends of our environment. We have different circadian rhythms, and we adapt. And of course, here's the genetical factors involved a lot. So where genetically you're coming from, living million years. And is represent 24 hours and is affecting your skin temperature, is your heart rate, your hormonal changes, and is driven mainly by internal and central clock. So what is internal clock? Internal clock is a little bit longer than circadian 24 hours. It's 24 hours and 15 or 20 minutes. So it means whatever we wake up, we want to sleep a little bit longer, with different words. But never will be a few days, probably you feel you wake up, you're full of energy for a few days, and then you have to wake up at 7 o'clock. For a few days, you're fine, and then you feel like, oh, I would love to sleep another 15, 20 minutes more. And yes, it's normal because our internal clock, 15, 20 minutes advance. Yeah, so we always will be. We can't physically wake up in the same time and feel absolutely cucumber, fresh as never before. Few days, yes, if you're lucky, but majority, if you're coming from this 20 minutes, maybe once in a few months, yeah, I would say maybe once a month. So if you feel that, that's normal. So there's nothing wrong with you. So, and of course, the main component here is the sunlight and your light. So we want, if you're waking up in the morning, mainly in the winter times, autumn times, have a sunlight, daily sunlight. And we're going to talk more about winter is this tiny little morning light or the sunlight. You can have different options that look like that. When you're waking up, you can put in your bedroom. And when you're waking up, half an hour before you wake up, set different alarms, different clocks. You can Google them and see research will be suitable for you, mainly for winter. Yeah, so your eyes, and you'll be already covered a little bit with more sunlight, and you'll wake up a little bit earlier. Yeah, so you'll be more alive, you'll have more energy. If now is the summer, you wake up, please look 10-15 minutes on the sunlight without mirror, without anything. You will see how much energy you will have during the day. Sadly, it's raining. Sadly, London and British summer, no difference between in winter or autumn. So that's why even when it's raining, probably have a little bit of morning light by your side and start the day with that, and you will feel much, much more energy during the day. Central clock, and central clock is the master clock. It's of course in our brain. Yeah, our brain needs, so that's why we need to take care of the brain, how we treat it, and in our gut. Yeah, because we are connected. So we listen to each other. And here's very important in terms of metabolic health, because that sending the signals how much hormones they're going to produce. So, and if you eat in the wrong time, your insulin response won't be good enough. Yeah, because excuse me, they have working hours. They're out of it's off call, yeah. It's they sit on call, of course, yes, but there is not in the full effectiveness as well. So we need to understand not only us have a clock, they have their own clock, and we have to respect it. But to respect it, we need to know what was going on in there. So, and of course, is linked to circadian rhythm, and they produce melatonin, yeah, for sleep hormone. They regulate temperature, they regulate our heart rate and hormonal level during the day, including cortisol, yeah. And if we start to eat or physically active outside of that, we distract another brain, yeah, because they have a different agenda and different plans. And if we force and change it, occasionally it's okay. But if you're constantly changing it and pushing it, there's no way you will go without metabolic issue. Yeah, so everything go wrong, and then you will start to search where it's come from. Yeah, because all the metabolism will be screwed up, and actually we'll find out we need to go on the bed on the time. You need to wake up, have a proper rest, and have respect and learn about it. So that's why we just start with learn. When you have peripheral clock is our organs. They have their own time. So they have their own agenda, liver, heart, pancreas, muscles, and they regulate specific function. So they control metabolism, they control this insulin release, they send in the signals, and they have their own timing, ideal, and activity. And if this clock get, as we say, eaten too late, they mess up everything in metabolism, yeah? About the clock, actually, majority of have peripheral clock, but for example, men testicles, they don't have it. So actually, these guys on call all the time, so they don't have a rest. So they will work it all the time. There is a lot of science behind it, and science coming from very, very long time. In Chinese body clocks, for example, are one of them. Indian as well, they have their own approach. So majority of the cultures, traditional medicine, Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine, they have their own approach for what organs and what time doing the job. So you can look about more classic. I represent classic medicine and Western approach, but there is a lot of other things that I don't want to a decline of existence. And I think there is a lot of truth in there, but you need to see what is more linked to you. There's a fire, water, wood, metal, and Indian Ayurvedic medicine as well, very strong, and they have a lot of evidence there. So a part of clocks we have as well for mental clarity and thinking clocks. Yeah, so we're all different when you have the best concentration. And this is mainly linked to our chronotype in mornings and evenings. So literally is our rhythm genetically already in preposition, they're all different. And maybe you have a big families, you know, somebody waking up early in the morning, somebody in the evening already want to sleep, somebody super active, want to eat and hungry and want to play guitar and music. So it's a crazy house because we're all that different, and we have to respect this as well. Because if we're going to live against our chronotypes, they actually as well are creating a lot of problems to our organism. So we need to listen, we need to learn about ourselves a little bit more, yeah? And understand still, for example, late hours, want to eat late at night, they're more prone to metabolic issues, metabolic diseases. So again, we still need to find the right balance what's suitable for you and your family members, and don't push children or family members to classic socialized norms because it's just convenient. So convenient is great, and there's a lot of things positive in terms of discipline, but also we have a lot of downtime in terms of damage of personality. And we were trying to change personality to force them to be who they are not. Ultradian performance as well is coming by the cycle. Is when you have arousal, then is as well is a hormonal response, is of course a adrenaline, as there will be cortisol level, and the time they have a top performance, and when we have a more stressed and we have this I would say more foggy when you need the time to recover. We lose our concentration, and we all have these different times, yeah. And they come in 90 minutes, 20 minutes. Again, this is standardized. This is just a graph. Everybody will have different graphs. It depends on our chronotypes and lifestyle. But it's very important to understand you can't be constantly alert. You can't be non-stop performing in your highest level. It's not going to happen. So it's inadequate demand for employer, for example, expect your employee going to work 8 hours and under the same performance. It's not going to happen. We're probably going to have 2 performance slots per day, 90 minutes, 90 minutes, and that's it. Yeah, so, and they can do majority of the work, 80% during these peaks. Yeah, and all the rest then would be less performance and will be less effective. So you need to understand where this time, to use this time the best in terms of education, in terms of work concentration or problem solving. You'll be the most effective. And we all will be different. So we're going to search. And here's a test. So if you go into the Cell Age, I send the link on WhatsApp. There is you can click there. Is a questionnaire. Is a good and standard. When you answer the questions, some questions, and you can test and understand what type you are. It's a good and standard, and you will see. You can do the diary as well. Just monitor yourself, how you feel. What time you wake up, what time you're more active, your brain concentration, and amend your life. So now we're going into total daily energy expenditure. So it's very important as well how much energy we need per day. And we all have this different because depends on the day or depends on the lifestyle we all have. So we have total daily energy expenditure based on basal metabolic rate. This means your organisms and your cells need this energy. These need ATP, so the using currency. National minimum wage, I would say, just we can't survive without, is the minimum. Non-exercise activity, thermogenesis, contribute approximately 15 to 20, exercise activity, and thermic effect. So based on that, we have different calculators that you can calculate how much kilocalories you need per day. And there is some online calculators. Don't need to calculate them. Previously, last lecture trying to get these numbers is, I think now is not a point to count. Of course, you can find the formula, calculate with by hand on a piece of paper, but just go online. They have plenty of sources, tdacalculator.net, different sources, but you can calculate how much do you need per day and how much really you are taking. Is that's it? Oh yeah, that's it then. So we done. So it took for us 1 hour, and now I'm happy to answer your questions. Wait, I lost. If anyone have stop sharing questions. Oh, stop sharing. I want to stop shares, and I have no idea how to do it. Stop share.
And you were talking about medication and to